Greetings, everyone. This video is sponsored by someone who wants me to get into the topic to discuss problems with mother-in-laws. The person said, listen, I want you to take the time to really give me your true feelings about in-laws, and shared her story. And so I am going to be as honest as I can in this video. Now, when you are introduced to your mother-in-law, whether you're male or female, oftentimes this send a signal to you that the person that you're dating is very serious about moving or taking that relationship to another level. And when you are introduced to your mother-in-law and other members of the family, you feel like, okay, now this man or this woman is serious about me. And if you happen to land in a family that love you and embrace you, it is such a beautiful thing. Because there are times when a mother-in-law, was waiting for a son or a daughter. And when you make that connection, oh my goodness, it's such an awesome thing. But far too often, I hear these nightmare stories of women who talk about struggles they have with their in-law, particularly their mother-in-law. And I'm going to just kind of explore this a little bit today. One of the things that I hear a lot is that, mother-in-law, after their sons in particular get married, for some reason, the mother-in-law start feeling threatened, especially if it's a only son, especially when she's close to her son. And oftentimes, sometimes the wife feels like the woman is trying to take over her life. And there are times when she feel like her husband is teaming up with his mother against her. And that can cause a lot of problems in marriages. A mother-in-law, for the most part, can be very nurturing, can be very loving, can be very supportive. Depending on their personality, they might learn to take their distance. And if they have any advice in terms of the children, the babies that are being born, as a older woman, you have some insight because you've raised some children on your own. And so sometimes there's a tendency to want to tell the daughter-in-law, how to take care of their offspring or grandchild or whatever. Sometimes the grandmother wants to play a very active role in her grandchild's life or grandchildren's life. And sometimes they don't realize that there's this boundary that they have to maintain. And when they push those boundaries, that's when conflict begins. As a mother-in-law, you have to know your place. You have to know your position. You have to know that, listen, your son is married to this person, and therefore she must not be in competition with you for the love of her husband, as you shouldn't be in competition with her for the love of your son. This is your son already. Okay? You don't need to prove anything that this is your son. You and your son's wife should not be fighting or jostling over position to see who remains close. When a man grows up and he becomes a man and move away from his home, he then go and be with his family, raising their children. And unless these kids are asking you for your opinion, you just have to learn how to keep your opinions to yourself. A lot of moms do not know how to let go. And there are a lot of moms, truthfully speaking, the way they behave, the daughter-in-law start to feel so uncomfortable because it's almost like the woman feel like she is his wife. The role she wants to play is like she is the wife. You're not the wife. You are the mother, that loving mother that brought him into the world. He's going to love you. You don't have to be nervous. Now, some of the mother-in-laws that are very meddlesome, I find some of these mother-in-law, if you go back when the child was young and was growing up, they never gave their love and their attention to the son. And then all of a sudden, when the person is an adult, they want to give the love that they didn't give when they were younger. Sometimes through guilt, they feel like they have to run, jostle with the wife because a woman is loving or nurturing, or she's giving all this attention to the son, the mom start to feel insecure. She start feeling like she's losing her son. But I would encourage mother-in-laws who have a good relationship with their son to see that when he's married and he starts a life with someone else, you don't have to feel nervous, because what happened is you're not losing a son, you're gaining a daughter, and then you're gaining more children from the children that they produce. You hear all these nightmare stories, and I'm going to say here, make it very clear that not all mother-in-laws are from hell, but a lot are. And so once you establish your boundaries from the very beginning, once you allow them to know what your expectations are from the very beginning, then you should be okay. So let's say, for example, the mother-in-law, likes to visit you guys, and you say, I don't want to come into my house unannounced. This is something that not just you have to say, because a mom can take, that as a negative response from the daughter-in-law. But when she talked to her husband and he's there trying to meet her expectation, there's bound to be conflict. Mother-in-laws just have to understand that your son's home or your daughter's home is not your home. So you can't go there and make any rules for their household. You can play a supportive role if they ask you to. And I think that's where a lot of the conflict come. Some mother-in-law want to take over their children's life. They want to go into their son or their daughter's home and call the shots. And it's just not like that. You just cannot. And there's some women will not allow you. Here's the thing though. A lot of times when mother-in-law have so much say in their children's life, is because their children give them that open doorway, that opportunity to come in and take charge. And even though the man might be saying, I don't want my mother to come in here and do anything that's going to upset you, is saying something else, or he gives another impression to his mother, or she gives another impression to her mother, because we're talking about in-laws, and in-laws not just about this man's side or about the woman's side as well. These individuals sometimes are the ones who, when you have issues, for example, you have disagreements, they run to the mommy and they tell the mommy their problems that they're having, and then mommy just feel like she's entitled to come and say all she needs to say, and then there causes more problems. A mother-in-law can always counsel her daughter and her son, but if you don't see your son-in-law as your son, or your daughter-in-law as your daughter, you're going to bring an energy that is going to cause pure chaos in their household. Men have to step up and be men and know that, okay, this is my mother and this is my wife, and I'm not going to put my mother in a position where she's disrespected, and I'm not going to put my wife in a position where she's disrespected. Sometimes that is difficult for a man because he loves his mom and he loves his wife, and sometimes they put him in a position where he has to choose. A man should never have to choose between his wife or his mother, but a man must recognize when his mother is disrespectful and put her in her place, not in a disrespectful way, but understand, so she knows her position and she knows her place. Okay, so all these issues with people talking about, the mother-in-law from hell and all these things, a lot of time, if you look closely, it's your partner, that is the wife or the husband, that is really causing these in-laws to come in and take root and to cause problems in your relationship. Because every mother-in-law that knows that there's a boundary, and her son or her daughter establish that boundary from very early on, it is usually respected. So for the person who asked me to do the video, I'm going to say to you that some of the things that are happening to you is as a result of your husband inviting his mother into your business and into your home, giving her free reign and free talk over the problems that you're having in your relationship. And she doesn't understand that she mustn't hold her position. Know where you stand, know where your boundaries are. And if your husband can't respect your wishes, then there's some thing to think about seriously. It's nice to have, you know, a mother-in-law that's loving and kind and one that you have a great relationship with, and you establish that very early on from the dating stage, so that she knows that, listen, when it comes to me and your son, business butt out. But she can't butt out if he's inviting her. Also, as women, sometimes we invite the mother-in-law into our business. When we and their son have problems, you go to her and tell her, I don't discuss my personal business with my mother-in-law. Whatever is happening between me and my husband is between us. It has nothing to do with her. Do you understand me? So you know, you can't send the mixed messages when it's convenient, you know, to say, tell your mother-in-law all your personal business and then be upset when she's ready to put in her 2 cents. Again, it is nice when you can embrace your extended family, but there are times when it's better to live far away from everybody and not to invite them in and give them no opportunity to meddle into your affairs. Again, if you are having problems with your in-law and they love and respect their son or their daughter, and the daughter establish the rules and make it very clear, this is where you stand, this is my position, 99% of the time the mother is going to respect her son or her daughter's wishes. Okay, so hopefully I answered your questions, or at least give you my honest opinion about the situation that you discussed with me. And I'm saying, yes, what you're saying, the things that are happening to you are quite disrespectful. But you can't just blame the mother-in-law. You have to also have a discussion with your partner. Because listen, if you open the door and invite anybody in, expect when they come in, they, if you don't set the rules, are going to think that they can come in there and determine the rules. Stay blessed, everyone.